Good afternoon, folks. How are we doing? It's me, Tom TX live from the Home Office, and this is Quarantine Quiz number 2. Thank you very much for joining me. Well, last week was good fun. We had a bunch of questions, and people answered some questions, and everybody had a good time, and it beat the boredom a little bit. Couple of bits of housekeeping. In the unlikely, well actually quite likely event that we go offline for some reason, maybe my internet connection drops out again, maybe it picks up on the music round and says, oh, that's copyright, and shuts the video down, which was one of the technical problems I was having before. If we do go offline, if you subscribe, there's a button here somewhere. I'm not just fishing for subscriptions, although that's a happy byproduct, but if it does go offline for some reason, then I'll record it and then just upload it, and then you can listen to it offline in your own sweet time. So if you subscribe, you'll get notified when we upload a thing. Also, I've moved the music round to the last round as well, so should there be any issue with the automatic robots going, oh, you're playing music, oh, naughty, naughty. Then if it does cut out, it will cut out right at the end after we've had a good time with the other rounds first. What else? I've forgotten. Oh yeah, the other piece of housekeeping, it has been suggested that possibly 3 o'clock in the afternoon when it's nice and sunny outside might not be the best time to do the quiz. Which is a fair point. So if you think you have friends and family who are more likely to join in if we did this, say, 5 o'clock on a Friday, live at 5, ooh, snazzy, then do let us know in the comments on the video. And that was all the housekeeping. Hope you're all doing well, keeping safe and well indoors under quarantine. Hello to American friends who may well be tuning in. I've had to sort of close all of my different social media windows because there's too many distractions and I can't do 63 things all at once. Just to give you a heads up, whilst people are joining, we are going to do 4 rounds. Round 1 is geography. Sorry if that's not your strong point. Round 2 is general knowledge. I ask some questions and you write some things down. Round number 3, you've got a fighting chance on this one, it's true or false. And then the final round is some music. There are a total of 60 points available. The first round, the picture round, there's 20 of those. General knowledge, there's 20 of those. True or false, there's 10, and the music, there are 10 as well. Now with the music, the idea is that it's 10 very well-known bits of music, hopefully very well-known. There's a mixture, there's a musical in there, there's a Disney film in there, there's some disco in there, there's all sorts. But the idea is it's about 10 seconds of the song played backwards and you just have to tell us the name of the song. So that's the name of the game on round 4. So just as we're waiting for people to tune in, we've got 5 concurrent viewers. I was expecting probably around 5, plus extras that just happen to tune in. So whilst everybody's getting themselves settled in and getting their pens and pencils ready and their buddies, I know that some of my colleagues have formed a team on Zoom. Just as everybody's getting settled in, we'll get started. What I'll do what I did last time with the picture round, and I will stick the picture round up full screen. What I've got is the outlines of 20 countries, and you just have to tell me the name of the country. And what I've done is I've turned those 20 countries into a video, so you've got nice full screen, one country on the screen for 10 seconds, and it goes to the next one. They start off quite tricky, but they get easier. As you go through. Most of these countries are from Europe, here's a bit of a hint, and then there's a few sort of very well-known ones from other places. So, I'm going to let that run. It runs through twice, so we'll just let that run, and then I can sort out any messages from people, and my phone's just gone off again, who are struggling to get connected. So I'll leave this running. Where are we? There we go. There's your first one. So this is round 1. This is countries. You have to name the country, please. And don't worry if you've missed number 1 already. It will come round again. These play through twice, and then I can always just restart the video. So here we go. And just while you're working your way through that, a couple of shout outs, people in the comments. Hello to Katie, all the way across the pond tuning in, thank you very much. Must be about 10 a.m. over there, so this is a Friday morning quiz for you. An old bus driving colleague of mine, no sorry there is no Liza Minnelli round. And Gemma, I knew you were going to be tuning in, Gemma, hello to you and the fam. One of the questions, is it the land that time forgot, aka Wales? And I don't think any of them are Wales specifically. If you've just joined us, I can see that the number of concurrent viewers has gone up. If you've just joined us, the first round is a geography round. These are the outlines of 20 countries or territories, and you just have to name the country or the territory. It cycles through twice. Each one's on the screen for 10 seconds, and then it'll repeat the whole lot a second time. And then if you do need more time, I can always run it a third time. Or I could leave it running on the screen whilst running through the questions for the general knowledge round. Do let me know in the comments as well if you think that we might get more viewers, more participants from your friends and family if this was at a different time. Thinking perhaps a bit later on once people have had enough of the sunshine and come indoors, but before they have their dinner perhaps. So maybe 5 o'clock, do 5 till 6. Maybe people get takeaway in and do the quiz. I did tell you they'd get a bit easier, so here we are. Question number 18 should be fairly straightforward. And I'll give you a clue on number 20. Number 20 is a fictional place, but that should probably be fairly obvious. And we're cycling back round again, so this is the second go, so please do pay attention to these ones. Don't let them slip through your fingers. My phone on silent, that'll stop distracting me. There's a couple of these countries actually, if you think of food, that might actually help you with some of them. If you have been catching some of the sun rays out there, don't forget to keep yourself hydrated. Tom's top tip for today. These should start to get a bit easier from this point. So if you're looking at some of these squiggles on the screen thinking, what is that? Then they should start to look a bit more familiar towards the latter half. Just remember one of the other bits of housekeeping. If you are playing with kids in the family, this is a sort of PG rated quiz. I'm not expecting any rudery, there's no innuendos hidden in any of these questions that I know of, yeah, parental supervision is required, I think, for the quiz. But also, if you do have kids in the family, they don't have the advantage of having existed and for as long and gathered as much knowledge. So for a round like this one, I think it would be fair to allow kids to use an atlas or a map and have a look at some of the countries, and we can call it research rather than cheating. I think that would be fair. Hopefully you'll get number 17. There's two answers that I would accept for number 17, if you want to split hairs. Okay, we're coming towards the end of the second cycle there. If anybody would like more of that, do let me know in the comments. Where are we? We're back on that screen. Hello, it's me again. So we can play that again if you want. I could quite easily just leave that running in the background whilst we do the general knowledge quiz. Can we do this round again later, somebody says. Well, I'll tell you what we could do is we could have a little bit of a break. I'm on the diet virgin Cuba Libres, so I'm probably going to need to pop to the loo at some point during the quiz. So we could leave that running again in between a couple of the rounds later on, perhaps. See how it goes. Okay. So that was round one. If we're going to bring that up on the screen again a bit later, we'll go through the answers for that a bit later on. Let's move on to general knowledge, and then we'll do the answers for general knowledge, and then maybe play the true or false round, and then do the countries again, and then do the answers for the countries. Okay, so round two, general knowledge. Question number 1 of 20. What is the capital city of Ukraine? That is the country Ukraine. What is the capital of Ukraine? And there's obviously not the letter U, haha. It's another foodie answer as well. Question number 1, what is the capital city of Ukraine? Question number 2, in the Wallace and Gromit franchise, what type of cheese is Wallace particularly fond of? That is question number 2, in the Wallace and Gromit franchise, what type of cheese is Wallace particularly fond of? Question number 3. What colour, traditionally, is a New York taxi? I can hear you. I can basically hear you all going, oh, it's... and saying the answer. That's question number 3. What colour is a New York taxi? Question number 4, continuing with the colours theme, on a standard Monopoly board, and I believe this applies on the American version as well as the UK version, on a Monopoly board, which are the more expensive properties? Is it the red, the orange, or the yellow properties? So on a Monopoly board, which properties are more expensive? Is it the red group, the orange group, or the yellow group? Question number 5. Who wrote War of the Worlds? And I don't mean the screenplay of any of the film adaptations. The original War of the Worlds, very famous book. Who wrote that? Question number 5. Who wrote War of the Worlds? Question number 6. What is a Portuguese man-o'-war? That's man apostrophe O war. What is a Portuguese man-o'-war? It's all one word, I think, not two separate words. Question number 7 is a question about giraffes. Specifically, a giraffe's neck. Do giraffes have more, the same, or fewer vertebrae than a human? So, giraffe's neck, do they have more, the same, or fewer vertebrae than humans? They've got very long necks. I don't know if you're familiar with a giraffe, but they are quite tall. It's question number 7. Do giraffes' necks have more, the same, or fewer vertebrae than humans? Question number 8. Boom Boom Pow was a UK #1 hit for which act? That's Boom Boom Pow was a UK #1 hit for which act? I won't sing it. Question number 9. In TV's The Simpsons, which member of the family is a vegetarian? It's question number 9. In TV's The Simpsons, which member of the family is a vegetarian? And we have a request in the comments for a repeat of questions. Question number 3, just to repeat that one. What colour is a New York taxi? That was question number 3. And question number 4, on a Monopoly board, which properties are the most expensive out of these 3? Is it red, orange or yellow properties? And we got up to question number 9, that was the Simpsons question. Question number 10, which film won the Best Picture Oscar at the 92nd Academy Awards this year? So in this year's Oscars, which film won Best Picture? Oh, and a request for a repeat of question number 8 as well. Number 8, Boom Boom Pow, Pow spelt P-O-W, allegedly, was a UK #1 hit for which act? So basically, which artist, performer, group, whoever, performed the song Boom Boom Pow? No worries. Somebody's thanking me in the comments. Question number... where do we get to? Question number 11 next. You may have heard of a DAB radio. They're the sort of modern thing now when you buy a radio. What does DAB stand for? And I'd like all 3 words, please, for the point on that one. So DAB, what does DAB stand for with regards to DAB radios? Request for question 2, no worries at all. Question number 2 was, in the Wallace and Gromit franchise, what type of cheese is Wallace particularly fond of? Cheese Gromit. But what sort of cheese is the kind of... It's a famous cheese in England. Don't know if it's famous everywhere. Okay, question number 12 is a question about driving. To the nearest 10 miles, and there is a choice of 3, how far does the average British motorist drive in one day? Okay, so to the nearest 10 miles, how far does the average British motorist drive in a day? Is it 10 miles a day, 30 miles a day, or 50 miles a day? How far do Brits drive on average? 10 miles a day, 30 miles a day, or 50 miles a day? Cheers. Question number 13 is the token sports question. I'm rubbish at sports. I didn't know the answer to this one. But in which sport is the Dunhill Cup awarded? In which sport is the Dunhill Cup awarded? D-U-N for November, hill, as in a big lump of earth. Dunhill Cup. Which sport is the Dunhill Cup awarded? Question number 14. How old was Nero when he became Emperor of Rome? Was he 6 years old, 16 years old, or 26 years old? All the 6s. Question number 14. How old was Nero when he became Emperor of Rome? Was he 6, 16, or 26? I noticed a little bit lag on the video. Hopefully you're still with me. Do comment, or any of my friends or colleagues just hit me up on WhatsApp if there is an issue with the stream. And I'll just sort of hang on until it stabilises and then we'll carry on. So that's question number 14. How old was Nero when he became Emperor of Rome? Was he 6 years old, 16 years old, or 26 years old? Question number 15. Astrophobia is the fear of what? And it's not Vauxhall Astras. It's question number 15, astrophobia, and I'll spell that for you. A for Apple, S for Sierra, T for Tango, R for Romeo, A for Alpha. Astrophobia is the fear of what? If you don't know, give it a guess. You might be able to work out something, have an educated guess at that one. Question number 16. Which is the hardest naturally occurring substance? Okay, it's got to be naturally occurring. It's not something man-made. What is the hardest naturally occurring substance? Just realised I said man-made. I should say human-made. Because, women make stuff as well. Equality. That was question number 15. No, it wasn't. That was number 16. Which is the hardest naturally occurring substance? Question number 17. What was the name of Bo and Luke's car in The Dukes of Hazzard? Essentially a TV question, this one. What was the name of Bo and Luke's car in The Dukes of Hazzard? I'll get some funny answers on the comments on the video. Are the comments that side or that side? Don't know. But the comments, whichever side they are, do message in there if you've got any problems with the stream, or if you have any very humorous answers. Don't give away the actual answers, obviously. What's the hardest naturally occurring substance? Me, somebody says. Okay, so that was question number 17. Question number 18. This is a question on Thomas the Tank Engine. What number engine is James? Is he engine number 3, engine number 5, or engine number 7? So in Thomas the Tank Engine, what number engine is James? Don't know when you last looked at Thomas the Tank Engine, but there's flipping hundreds of them now. They've got all kinds of names. There's buses, there's coaches, there's helicopters, there's, ride-on lawnmowers. There's every form of transport imaginable. They've all got names, and you're supposed to remember who they all are. It's a bit like Pokemon. There's hundreds of them as well. So question number 18, in Thomas the Tank Engine, what number engine is James? 3, 5, or 7? Question number 19. Which electrical household device was invented by Herbert Cecil Booth in 1901? Quite a long question, I'll give you that one again. Question number 19. Which electrical household device, shall we say the word appliance, that's easier, which household appliance, was invented by Herbert Cecil Booth in 1901? Maybe you recognise the name, maybe you're going to make an educated guess based on the year, but there was something that we use in our homes that was invented in 1901 by Herbert Cecil Booth in 1901. What was it? And finally, question number 20. Now in the UK, if you have been watching the series on ITV called Quiz, based on the famous Who Wants to Be a Millionaire scam, then you might know the answer to this question. You might have known the answer to this question already. Well done if you did. Question number 20. A Google, from where the search engine Google actually got its name, allegedly. A Google, G-O-O-G-O-L, is a number 1, followed by how many zeros? So a Google is a number, and that number is a 1, followed by how many zeros? So before we go through the answers, would anybody like any more of those questions repeated? I'll give you a minute to discuss in your teams if you need anything repeated. Oh, there's a chip in my glass. Okay. Right. Well, no shout-outs for repeated questions, so let's go through the answers for the general knowledge round. I'm still clinging on to the countries because we're going to come back to the countries. General knowledge round. Question number 1. The capital of Ukraine is Kiev. K-I-E-V. Kiev. Question number 2. In the Wallace and Gromit franchise, what type of cheese is Wallace particularly fond of? It's Wensleydale. Wensleydale. Question number 3. What colour is a New York taxi? They are yellow, of course. Pretty much any movie, particularly disaster movies, there's always New York taxis in yellow getting blown up. Question number 4. On a Monopoly board, which of these properties are more expensive? Is it the red, the orange, or the yellow? It's the second question in a row where the answer is yellow. The yellow properties are most expensive. Then it's the go to jail. Then it's the green ones, and another station, and then it's Mayfair and Park Lane, or whatever the most expensive ones are in the American version. So that was question number 4. Question number 5. Who wrote War of the Worlds? It was H.G. Wells. I don't actually know what the H and the G stand for. Let me know in the comments, wherever those comments are. Question number 6. What is a Portuguese man-o'-war? It is a jellyfish. Portuguese man-o'-war is a jellyfish. Question number 7. Do giraffe necks have more, the same, or fewer vertebrae than humans? They are allegedly the same. They have the same number. They're just much, much bigger. Question number 8. Boom Boom Pow was a UK #1 hit for the Black Eyed Peas. Question number 9. In TV's The Simpsons, which member of the family is vegetarian? The answer is, of course, Lisa Simpson. You don't make friends with salad. Question number 10. Which film won the Best Picture Oscar at the 92nd Academy Awards this year? It was also the first non-English language film ever to win the Best Picture Oscar. It was the film Parasite, which I believe was a South Korean film. So well done if you got that one right. You have been paying attention. Question number 11. DAB radios. What does DAB stand for? And I want all 3 words, please, for the point. Of course, I can't tell what you've actually written on your answer sheet, so you can give yourself the point even if you've got one of the words. It's up to you. This is like an honesty box system. The D stands for digital. The A stands for audio. And the B stands for broadcasting. If you put broadcast, give yourself the point. That's close enough. Digital audio broadcast or broadcasting, it's fine. Okay, question number 12. To the nearest 10 miles, how far does the average How far does the average British motorist drive in one day? Is it 10 miles a day, 30 miles a day, or 50 miles a day? Hands up if you put 10. You're wrong. The answer is 30. 30 miles. That was just under 30 miles. That's the average for a British driver. And that's based on MOT data. We know that as of 2018, the average British motorist does 7,134 miles. But they don't drive every single day. So to the nearest 10 miles, we drive 30 miles a day. Some a lot less. Anyway, moving on. Question number 13, the token sports question. In which sport is the Dunhill Cup awarded? It is the sport of golf, where you take a big stick and try and hit a very small ball half a mile away into a hole that you can't see. Nutty sport, that is. Question number 14. How old was Nero when he became Emperor of Rome? Was he 6, 16 or 26? The answer is 16, which I believe is the legal age for driving in most of the US states. In the UK it's 17. Question number 15. Astrophobia. It's not the fear of astronauts. It is the fear of thunder and lightning. I will accept the word storms. That's close enough. So well done if you got that right. Astrophobia is the fear of thunder and lightning. Question number 16. The hardest naturally occurring substance is diamond. Question number 17. The car in the Dukes of Hazzard is the General Lee. Generally, it sounds like generally. I've just noticed that. Generally, generally what? The General Lee. Question number 18. Thomas the Tank Engine. James is engine number 5. Question number 19. Which electrical household device was invented by Herbert Cecil Booth in 1901? It was the vacuum cleaner. Also known in the UK as a Hoover, but that is actually a brand, not a thing. A bit like saying, oh, Google it means to do an internet search, but Google's actually a brand. The vacuum cleaner was invented in 1901. Speaking of Google, question number 20. A Google is a number 1 followed by 100 zeros. And a Googleplex, interesting, fun fact, is a number 1 followed by a Google zeros. So that's like more atoms than there are in the universe or something like that. It's an enormous number. So give yourself a score out of 20 and let me know in the comments how many you got out of 20 on the general knowledge round. We'll see how you're getting on. The next round is the true or false round. 10 questions on the true or false round. So give yourselves a count up. Let me know in the comments. How many did you get out of 20 on the general knowledge round? You know things are bad and that we're locked down and that there's a problem worldwide when you're watching a video of a man drinking a Diet Cola. Okay, so scores coming in. We've got a 14.5. I'm guessing that's the DAB radio question. You're giving yourself half a point for that, maybe. We've got a 15. Okay, that is a colleague and a 12-year-old. Then that's a pretty good score. And you're aiming to beat my media team colleagues. Well done. By half a point as well. Excellent. Good job. Okay, let's move on. So, round 3. Trois. Drei. I don't know any other. Dos. Tres. Round number 3. True or false? So, all of these are 50-50. So, hopefully, we should all get at least 5 unless you're really unlucky. So, without any further ado, question number 1. True or false? Brazil is the only country in the Americas whose official language is Portuguese. The second mention of Portugal in this quiz. It could be the third, actually, if one of the countries is Portugal in round 1. We'll find out later. So question number 1. Brazil is the only country in the Americas whose official language is Portuguese. Is that true or false? Question number 2. The American Civil War ended in 1776. True or false? The American Civil War ended in 1776. Question number 3. Paprika, or paprika, depending on how you want to pronounce it, is the Hungarian word for pepper. Is that true or false? Paprika is the Hungarian word for pepper. True or false? Oh, we've got a 13 out of 20 come through from Katie over in the States. Well done. There's a few more American-friendly questions in this quiz. I knew we'd have a few of our American cousins tuning in again this week. Okay, so question number 4 on true or false. Over the full life cycle of a car, electric cars have a higher carbon footprint than their petrol and diesel equivalents. Is that true or false? Those of you who know me will know that I'm bound to just squeeze in a question about electric cars. Over the full life cycle of a car, electric cars have a higher carbon footprint than their petrol and diesel equivalents. Is that true or false? Question number 5 is about pigeons. Pigeons are incapable of walking without bobbing their heads. Is that true or false? Pigeons are incapable of walking without bobbing their heads. They just physically cannot do it. Is that true or false? You're all sort of imitating pigeons now. Yeah, they do that. Question number 6 is another mention of birds. A bit of repetition. As the crow flies, nice segue, London is closer to Paris than it is to Glasgow. Is that true or false? So as the crow flies, is London closer to the city of Paris in France than it is to Glasgow? up in north in Scotland. True or false? London is closer to Paris than it is to Glasgow. Question number 7. The can opener was not invented until decades after the invention of the tin can. Is that true or false? So the can opener was not invented until decades after the invention of the tin can. Question number 8. The planet Mercury is often referred to as the evening star. Is that true or false? Question number 8. The planet Mercury is often referred to as the evening star. Question number 9 is a question about games. By number of copies sold, Grand Theft Auto is the biggest selling game of all time. Is that true or false? Question number 9. By number of copies sold, Grand Theft Auto is the biggest selling game of all time. And finally, question number 10. Question number 10 is a question about woolly mammoths. Woolly mammoths were still walking the earth when the Great Pyramids at Giza were built. Is that true or false? Woolly mammoths still walked the earth when the Great Pyramids at Giza were built. Is that true or false? And that is the end of the true or false round, just 10 questions. The next 10 questions would be the music round, but before we do that, we're going to do the country outlines. Would anybody like any of the true or false round questions repeated? Do let me know in the comments. I'm going to say that side. I think the comments are down that side of the video. Depending on your layout of your screen, if you've got cinema mode on, I don't know why you'd want this much bigger, but if you've got cinema mode, the comments are probably down there. I don't think they're on that side unless this is mirrored somehow. Nobody's shouting out in the comments for a repeat of any of those questions. Oh, 7, okay. Number 7. The can opener was not invented until decades after the tin can was invented. Is that true or false? Are you saying true, the comments are down there, or that you don't want this large in cinema? Question number 7. The can opener was not invented until decades after the invention of the tin can. That was question number 7. Tech issues. Can you do 7 up recap? We're doing a recap of the whole lot. Number 1, Brazil is the only country in the Americas whose official language is Portuguese. Number 2, the American Civil War ended in 1776. Number 3, paprika is the Hungarian word for pepper. Number 4, over the full life cycle of a car, electric cars have a higher carbon footprint than their petrol and diesel equivalents. Question number 5, pigeons are incapable of walking without bobbing their heads. Number 6, as the crow flies, London is closer to Paris than it is to Glasgow. Number 7, Ace Ventura this. Number 7, the can opener was not invented until decades after the invention of the tin can. Number 8, the planet Mercury is often referred to as the evening star. Number 9, by number of copies sold, Grand Theft Auto is the biggest selling game of all time. Number 10, woolly mammoths still walked the earth when the Great Pyramids at Giza were built. Plenty of breath still to spare. I could do that. I should work on my impression for Ace Ventura. Okay, so that's the recap. Let's go through the answers, unless there's any last minute objections. People are going, wait, in the comments. Just a short interval of me sipping the last of my cola drink. Good question on number 9. Thanks, Anne. Just to clarify, Grand Theft Auto, it should be Grand Theft Auto 5 specifically. Minor detail, but by number of copies sold, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the biggest selling game of all time. That's how that question should have been written. Okay. Right, let's go through some answers. So, question number 1, Brazil is the only country in the Americas whose official language is Portuguese. That is apparently true. So, number 1, true. You got that double negative thing, so sometimes if the answer is false, you've got to tick it, not cross it, because the word false might conjure up visions of things being wrong, so don't accidentally mark yourself down. Or put true on something and the answer is false, so you mark it right because of the word true. So number 1, the answer is true. Brazil is the only country in the Americas whose official language is Portuguese. Question number 2, the American Civil War ended in 1776. This was written deliberately to trip you up. The answer is false, because that was the War of Independence, not the American Civil War. So the answer to question number 2 is false. The American Civil War did not end in 1776. The Civil War was 1861 to 1865, nearly 100 years later. Question number 3. Paprika is the Hungarian word for pepper. That is true. Question number 4. Over the full life cycle of a car, electric cars have a higher carbon footprint than their petrol and diesel equivalents, unless you happen to live in the 5% of territories worldwide where their power mostly comes from extremely high carbon sources. The answer to that question is false. Over their entire life cycle, from building them to driving them to recycling them, their carbon footprint is significantly lower in most countries. So the answer to question number 4 is false. Question number 5. Pigeons are incapable of walking without bobbing their heads. That is false. I previously heard before that that was true, but I've fact-checked that this afternoon. They are physically capable of walking whilst not bobbing their heads, but they bob their heads because it helps with their vision. If they don't bob their head, they can't sort of perceive depth or shape or movement or that kind of stuff. When I fact-checked this, there was a guy who put pigeons on a treadmill, so the pigeons were walking, but because they weren't going anywhere, they didn't bob their heads because they didn't need to move because they weren't moving. Some weird stuff like that. So question number 5, false. Pigeons are not incapable of walking without bobbing their heads. Question number 6, as the crow flies, it is absolutely true that London is closer to Paris than it is to Glasgow. Something like 300 odd kilometres to Paris, where it is 500 odd kilometres to Glasgow. Divide that by 1.6 if you need it in miles. Question number 7. The can opener was not invented until decades after the invention of the tin can. Allegedly, that is absolutely true. It was about 45 years later, after the tin can was invented, that somebody invented the can opener. So quite what they were doing with 45 years worth of tin cans, I don't know. Question number 8. The planet Mercury is often referred to as the evening star. That is false. The evening star is in fact the planet Venus. Sorry, another one that's written to deliberately trip you up. If you've got clear skies in the direction of the sunset, I'm gesturing that way because that is the direction of the sunset relative to where I'm sat. It might be over that way, that way, that way, or that way for you. But if you look towards the sunset and look quite high in the sky, it's quite an angle, about 45 degrees nearly, so sort of halfway up to the vertical. And that very bright star in the sky, the evening star, is actually the planet Venus. So question number 8 was false. Question number 9. By number of copies sold, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the biggest selling game of all time. That is false. By number of copies sold, the number 1 game of all time is Tetris, followed by Minecraft, and then followed by GTA 5, allegedly, according to the website where I did my research today when I was writing this quiz. If you were to look at the sales, I think GTA 5 might be the one with the sales, because it got like $1 billion in one weekend or something, so it will vary depending on whether you're looking at actual number of units or the value. But the answer to question number 9 is false. No, this is not the same shirt I was wearing last week. Or it might be, actually. Don't know. It has been washed since then. Thanks for that comment. Question number 10. Woolly mammoths still walked the earth when the Great Pyramids at Giza were built. This is actually true. The last woolly mammoth surviving on an island somewhere between America and Russia, they actually died out 1,000 years after the Great Pyramid of Giza was built. Some scientists, some nerds did some calculations, dating of things, and worked that out. So that was the true or false round. We're going to revisit the countries one again. I'm just going to let that run. We'll just do probably one cycle of that. And then if you've got the countries already, then you or other people in your team can pop to the loo and have a wee, and then come back in a couple of minutes. Oh yeah, sorry, do let me know how many points you got on that one. We've got a 7 out of 10 on the true or false, so that's pretty good going. That's more than just luck, because if you just guess true for all of them, or false for all of them on average, assuming there's an equal number of true or false questions, don't know if there is, I haven't even counted them, then you're probably going to get about 5, so... you missed round 1. Round 1 is coming up again. I'm going to show the countries again, just to give people a chance to go through, and I can see you... we've got an 8 out of 10 there, well done. And I can see you in the comments saying that you've missed round 1, but I will play round 1 again. It's a video that's going to come up. Instead of my face, you're going to see this video come up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade my mic out, and I'm going to switch back to the countries. So there are the countries, and I'm going to fade my mic out, because I'm also going to pop to the loo and nobody needs to hear that. And I'm going to leave the countries running. So if you missed this round earlier, there's another chance for this week's picture round. It is the outlines of countries. Just tell me the name of that country. There are 20 of them. They're on the screen for 10 seconds each. Most of them are from Europe, and they get easier as this goes on. So number 1's pretty tricky, and I have left that on the screen for a little while, deliberately, because it is a tricky one. I'm going to press play on that. You've got 10 more seconds of number 1, and then it'll go on to number 2, and so on. Good luck! And welcome back. How are we doing, folks? That's my mic, and let's switch back to, wee, there I am. So how are we doing? Just checking the comments. We got an 8 out of 10. That's good. So very well done on the true or false there. 8 out of 10 is not bad. Not bad at all. How are you getting on with those countries? If you are as done as you're going to be, then we'll go through the countries. And yeah, okay, good. No comments. So people are generally happy. Okay, so let's go through them, and I'm going to. Can I get these up on the screen? One at a time. No, I'll just have to fast forward through the video. Okay, right, so cutting back to the countries. Let's mark these. So there are, you want to do 18, 15 again, do you? Let's have a quick look. Whee! That's number 8. What is that blob? Even I don't know that one. Let's have a look. Oh, okay. It's in Europe. Interesting looking blob. That's number 8. Number 15, let's have another quick look at number 15. It's one of them. Like a long thin one that looks like the other long thin ones. Where's the other long thin one? There's another long thin one. There's another long thin one, but it's sort of straight instead of on a wonk. Okay. Let's go through the answers. So, question number 1. The answer was Bulgaria. Number 1 was Bulgaria. Number 2, that is the Republic of Ireland. Question number 3 is Denmark. Question number 4, it's where you get your frozen food from, it's Iceland. That joke doesn't work in America because I don't think they have Iceland. That's question number 4, Iceland. Number 5 is Turkey. That's Turkey. Number 6, that is Romania. Romania. Number 7, hopefully that's slightly more recognisable now, the famous boot shape, that is Italy. Number 8, that is sort of a slightly obscure looking blob, that is Switzerland. Number 9 is Germany. Number 10 is Portugal. Number 11, now you might have got these the right way around, you might not. There's a couple of these that sort of interlock with each other. Number 11 is Norway. And then later on we'll see the sort of other one that sort of slots in there. Number 12 does look strange when you look at it like this because there's a hole cut out the side of it here, but this is Spain. And the hole that comes out there is Portugal. Yeah, so that's why Spain has got that lump cut out. Every day's a school day. So number 12 was Spain. Number 13 is Greece. Lots of islands and then the mainland. Number 14 is Hungary. Number 15, here's the other one. So this is Sweden. So Norway and Sweden, they all sort of interlock up there with Finland, the Scandinavian countries. Number 16 is France. Number 17, I will accept either Great Britain or United Kingdom. You could say Great Britain and Northern Ireland. You could say United Kingdom. As long as you've got somewhere near there. I'm not going to split hairs. Number 18 is USA. I will also just accept America or North America. Number 19 is Australia. And number 20 is fictional. In fact, actually, I've just noticed down here, it says Middle Earth. I need to Photoshop that one out before we do the next quiz. But yeah, that is Middle Earth from the Lord of the Rings. It's not a real country. Sorry to disappoint you. And that was the countries. Okay, now I did test the sound. Oh, let me know how many out of 20 you got on that one. I did test the sound, so we should have working sound for the last 10 questions of today's quiz, which are music questions. Let's try not to screw this up. Well, right. So we've got a 15 out of 20 on the countries. That's a pretty good score. Some of those are quite tricky. I don't think I would have got 15. Oh, 2 15s. Oh, it's close there, isn't it, between Gemma and Lizzie's team. There's 1 point ahead, 1 point behind, so on and so on. Great. I love it when it's close. Any other scores out of 20, please, guys, for those countries? And the final 10 questions of today, I'm going to play you 10 short clips of music. They are well-known songs, and I'm playing the music to you backwards, and you have to tell me what the name of the song is. Write it down forwards as well. I don't want to be clever trying to write the names of the songs backwards. Okay. Now, just to give you a little bit of a hint, we have some disco hits in here. There's a couple of them. There's a couple of, well, there's one really cheesy bit, but there's one Disney movie in there, and there is a song from a musical. There's an Andrew Lloyd Webber in there somewhere. I'll give you that as a hint. Katie says 9 out of 20 other countries. Don't worry. It would be the equivalent of asking all the British people to name the states by their shape. It's going to be quite difficult because we don't live there. So don't worry. And says 13 out of 20. I know you like a bit of geography and countries and flags and whatnot. But yeah, you only got to see it the one time through. Okay, so music round. Eyes down for a full house. We have 10 questions. And I need to put on my super sexy headset. And if at this point it sounds like I'm slurring my words, it's because there's a slight delay between me saying things and me hearing it on here. But I do need this so that I can hear the music on the music round. Okay. Question number 1. Title of the song, please. Okay, I'll give you that once more. Title of the song. Question number 2. Okay, give you that one again. Question number 3. That was question number 3. Give you that again. Question number 4. Question number 4 again. Question number 5. Quite possibly the world's most irritating song. Question number 5 again. Question number 6. Possibly the last 3 seconds of that one gave it away. That one's slightly shorter, but if you know it, you know it. That was question number 6. Question number 7, bit tricky. Okay, I'll give you that one again. Question number 7. Okay, question number 8. Give you that one again. Question number 8. Question number 9. And I've forgotten already whether I played that once or twice. Let's play it again. Number 9. And finally, question number 10. That was question number 10. Once more. And that's the end. I'm going to take that off so I can speak at a normal voice. That is the end of the music round. Would anybody like any of those 10 questions repeated? Do let me know in the comments. I'm getting more confident now, pointing that direction. Comments. And we'll play some of those again. And if you have more recently joined us in this quiz, just to ask you please, just in case this ever gets taken off the air because of technical problem or because the robots trawling the internet go, oh, he's playing music, and then they cut my transmission, then hit the subscribe button, which is around there somewhere. Then you can come back to us and find the re-upload later. So if we do get taken off the air, I'm also recording locally. I'll upload it again later and you'll be able to tune in and finish the quiz. So we have a request for numbers 3, 7 and 8. So let me just pop my super sexy headset back on. Number 3 was this. That was number 3. And we've got a request for number 7 again. Here's number 7. This is a tricky one. And number 8. A request for number 8 again. Here we go. And that was number 8. And big shout out to my mum, Val, who's just joined us in the comments, running late. No, I can't start again, but what you can do is after the end of the live show, when you click on the link, it will take you to the recorded version of this, so you can go through all the questions again. So there we go, that was a music round. Let's go through some of the answers. Starting with number 1. So number 1 was this. And that was Gangnam Style. Now I don't know, but I might be able to play this backwards. Nope. I was hoping that might. So what I can't do is play that song backwards using this player that I'm using, because that would have been a nice easy way to go back. Just as well, because the robots will probably tell me, oh, we got music, and copyright reasons. So number 1 was Gangnam Style. Number 2 was this one. And that was Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees. Question number 3 was this one. No, I'm not singing. Thank you very much for that comment. That was the song Japanese Boy, the 80s hit. Question number 4. Ooh, okay. We've got some technical issues going on. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Okay, I'm very sorry about the buffering. So very quickly, let's go through these answers before, I don't know, the internet connection completely runs out. Hopefully you're still with me. Oh, yeah, there's some movement there. Okay, so number 4 was this. That's September by Earth, Wind and Fire. So the answer to that one is September. Question number 5 was this. Yeah, a bit more buffering going on apparently. Number 5 was the Birdie song. Number 6. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. The song title we're looking for there is Relax. Number 7, slightly trickier. That was the tricky one. That was a musical. That was an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. That was Starlight Express. Question number 8. That was Hakuna Matata from The Lion King. Question number 9. That was Hot Stuff by Donna Summer. And finally, question number 10. And that's UB40, Red Red Wine. So just very quickly, I appreciate we had connection issues during that, but number 1 was Gangnam Style, number 2 was Stayin' Alive, number 3 was Japanese Boy, number 4 was September, number 5 was the Birdie song, number 6 was Relax, number 7 Starlight Express, number 8 Hakuna Matata, number 9 was Hot Stuff, and number 10 was Red Red Wine. And that is the end of today's quiz. So if you give yourselves a score out of 10 for the music round, let's see how you got on with that. I don't know whether that was very, very tricky or whether that was not too bad. But do leave your comments. Let me know if you think that was better this week because it was slightly easier overall, or if you wanted a different type of round, or if you've got a subject that you think we should do next week. If there's a different time that you think we should do this, if 5 o'clock works better for you on a Friday, then perhaps we'll get more viewers. Who knows? Do let me know if you do know that you've got loads of friends and family that would also join in if it was at 5 o'clock instead of 3. Then let me know in the comments, and we'll do a different time next week. Okay, so we've got some answers coming through. We've got some 8 out of 10s. We've got some 7 out of 10s. Thank you very much. Good stuff. Well done. Yep, a couple of 8s, a couple of 7s. Jolly good. It's really close there between a couple of those teams. Okay, so now if you give us a count up, because that is the end of the quiz, out of all the rounds, so we've got 20 points available for round 1 with the countries, 20 points available for the general knowledge quiz questions round. We've got 10 true or false, and we've got 10 music questions, so total out of 60, please, guys. We've got a 45 out of 50 there, but it was out of 60. Just have another count. I'll make sure you get that right. Is it 45 out of 60, or is there another 10 questions you've forgotten to count? Food and drink round next week, somebody says. Yeah, we could do that. Remind me, won't you? Send me a message. My mum says, how do I get to the start? Wait until the live stream finishes in a few minutes, and then you'll be able to click on the link that I sent you, and then it should just take you to the offline version, but it might need to process for a little while before it's available. Any more scores, please, guys? 45 out of 60. Okay, thanks for clarifying. Let's get your scores in, please, guys. Let's see who this week's winners. Just dog. The word dog. I'm not sure what to do with that. You want a round on dogs next week? Oh, dull. Okay. You mean dull as in you got the wrong number. Okay. Still waiting for a couple of 45 and a half. I think that's going to be today's top score. Can you just let us know in the comments actually, how did you get the half? For what did you award yourself a half point? 36 out of 60, that's more than half, and you know, you're a small team, so don't be too disheartened by that. Referee's inquiry. We'll go to what's it called? VAR. We'll do the ultra slow-mo close-up super technology. 39 and a third. Now that's the DAB question. I know that's the DAB question. It's entirely up to you how you score it, really. I mean, you could lie and say you got 55. Any advance on 45 and a half? I'd like to know what the half is, just out of curiosity. For what did you award yourself a half point? Maybe it was the astrophobia question. They put thunder instead of thunder and lightning. There it is. Okay, so they got the general rather than the General Lee on the Dukes of Hazzard question. Yeah, I mean, I think that's worth half a point. This is not me being biased towards my own team of colleagues, and they got DAB. Well done, you. But yeah, the General Lee. I mean, the word "the" is kind of almost, get rid of that. General and Lee are the two key words, and you got one of them, so I can see why you guys give yourself half a point. So there we go then. Today's winners are Lizzie's team. Whoever's on your team, Lizzie, there's a few of you. So in a literal sense, Lizzie's team have won that. On the, I don't know what the right word is, the moral sense, Gemma is on a team of just herself and a 12-year-old. And they got near enough the same points, so I think that's pretty good going as well. Oh, well, and give yourself another half a point. Now, fractions, adding fractions, we're going to embed maths in here, so a half would be 3/6, and you've already given yourself 2/6, so that's 5/6. So you got 39 and 5/6, which I think we'll just round up and say you got 40 points. So it's pretty close. Well done, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. That was this week's quiz, and it'd be interesting to see when I press end stream in a minute just how many people were watching and for how long. But we still, at this point, have 10 concurrent viewers. So whoever you are, the silent majority not commenting in the comments, thank you very much for watching. Unless anybody's got a suggestion for a better time and a place, there is a chance that we might be slightly later next week. technically I'm back at work next week, working remotely, and I'm working until 4:30 on Friday, so it might have to be a 4:30 start next Friday, but I will endeavour to let you know before the event, and I will post a link out on the various sort of social media things. Just subscribe as well. Subscribe and turn the little thing on for notifications, and then you'll get a ding on your phone or other device when we're about to go live. And I'll schedule the show as well, so hopefully you'll see it is kind of queued up, ready to go in advance. 39 and a half and a third. Very well done. Lizzie's team were Lizzie, Matt, Georgie and Carly. There's quite a formidable force there. It's no surprise you did quite well there. Well done, guys. Right, thank you very much. I'm going to stop talking now and go and see my wife and child in the next room. So thank you very much for joining, and same time next week. Now, if I was really clever, what I would have done is, whilst I was doing that bit, I would have queued up the logo so that I could fade to the logo smoothly. There we go. Whee! And then I'll fade out my mic. Goodbye. So long. Farewell.